Hi Instagram, how are you guys? We are doing this again. We're going to be reading through parts of the Torah reading because it's just so powerful. It's literally, I said this last week, overwhelmingly powerful. It's truly overwhelming. Like the last book of the Torah, which we're reading now, is called Devarim. It's the fifth book and the last book. It's my favorite book. I don't know if you should choose favorites in the 5 books of Moses because they're very holy, but I connect to it more than anything. But it's also the least fun for me to learn because it's so powerful that I feel so overwhelmed. I don't know how to teach it. It's kind of like if someone asks you, like, why do you love your mom? Like, tell me why you love your mother. Like, you can't describe that to someone. You can't explain, like, I love my mom because she's amazing. She made me dinner my whole life and she took care of me. She loved me and she took me to school. You don't get to the core of why you love your mom. You can't explain it. I have the same thing with this week's Parsha. It's just too freaking powerful. The Parsha is about listening. It's called Ekev, and the next Parsha, a Parsha means the Torah reading. This is going to be like a 5-10 minute class. I hope you guys stay. Guys, Torah is our life. 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 I cannot say it enough. I can't stress it enough. Our past, our present, and our history is all in this book. It's all here. It's written out for us. God and Moses and God tell us consistently, as do pretty much every prophet that's ever lived and every Jewish leader that's ever lived, you need to keep the mitzvos. You need to learn Torah. It's who you are. It's like trying to raise a baby, like create a healthy child without feeding it. You can't have a baby that will grow into a healthy adult if you don't like give it milk or something. You need to feed it. The Torah is our milk. We can't survive without it. It's literally in this Parsha. I don't know how to stress it enough. Moses told us like 3,500 years ago. So let's go into this for a second. This week's Torah portion, Parsha, the Torah reading, is called Ekev, which has a few different meanings, but I'm gonna give you a different meaning. Ekev Tishmun, V'haya Ekev Tishmun. That's how the Parsha starts. When you will listen, Tishmun means listen. When you will listen, as a result of your listening, that's really important. Next Parsha is called Re'eh, which means seeing. This Parsha is about listening. Next week is about seeing. Before we go into this, and I don't want this class to be too long because this is Instagram and no one watches anything for more than a minute, but it's not always easy to see God in the world. Not only because God is not corporeal, God doesn't have a body, God doesn't have a form, that's idolatry to us Jews. It's also because life is complicated. Life is hard. Bad, horrific things happen to good people. Lots of people hate us. It's hard to see God in the world. Like, not even just like a hand or a foot, right? God doesn't have those things. But also just seeing God, it's really hard to see God in the world. And God is saying, you need to listen. You need to listen. You will not always be able to see me, but you can have me within you. If you listen, you'll be able, remember I said next week's Parsha, the Torah reading is called Re'eh. When you listen, you'll be able to see me. When you listen to the words of the Torah, open your ears to the words of the Torah. It is eternal. All roads lead to the Torah. It's just a fact. I mean, look at social media right now. Look at the news. It's all about Israel and the Jewish people. All roads lead to the Torah. It's a fact. That's because the Torah is truth. It is pure, essential truth. God is saying to the Jewish people, you need to listen. When you listen, you'll be able to see me. Remember, this week's Parsha is about hearing. Next week's Parsha is about seeing. When you hear me, you'll be able to see me. I don't know how to stress enough. This is 4 minutes already of me just saying, just learn Torah. I always say this every week. Get a cup of coffee. Don't make it so complicated. And sit in your pajamas or whatever it is. And just sit on the comfy, squishy part of your couch and read the Torah portion in English. You don't need to drive yourself crazy doing the Hebrew when it's too hard. Read it in English. It's not even powerful. It's life. It's literally life itself. Okay, let's start reading. Okay, there are so many powerful parts of this Torah portion that I'm not even going to give you commentary. I'm not going to give you what I think about it, really, maybe a little bit, but no like Torah commentary. We're just reading because it's so much on its own. It's enough on its own. Okay, let's start. And what will happen is, as a result of your listening to these laws, to the mitzvos, and your care in their observance, God, your God, will keep his promise to you, the covenant and the kindness that he swore to your fathers. He will love you, he will bless you, and he will multiply you. He will bless the fruit of your womb, the fruit of your soil, your grain, your wine, your oil, your cattle's offspring. Lots of blessings. You will be blessed above all nations. There will be no sterile male or barren female among you or among your cattle. God will keep every sickness away from you. He will not give you any of the disease of Egypt which you experienced. He will give them to your enemies. You might say to yourself, we're in verse 7, chapter 17. You might say to yourself, and this is beautiful to me because we Jews are very small, meaning physically small too, but like literally our nation is small. We have a smaller number of people in our nation than other nations do. And God says, don't ever be afraid of how small your congregation is. Don't ever be afraid of how small your nation is. Your power doesn't come from your numbers. Your power comes from the God that you're connected to, the God that you represent, the God that you're in a covenant with. You will be strong forever as long as you are close to me. That's what's God's message in this parsha. You might say to yourself, these nations are more numerous than us. How will we be able to drive them out of the land of Israel? Do not fear, says God. You should always remember that the Lord your God, what the Lord your God did to Pharaoh and the whole Egypt. Do not be demoralized by them, because God your God, a great and awesome God, is among you. Little by little, your God will drive away those nations from before you. You will not be able to destroy them quickly, for then... Okay, we're going to let's skip that part. Verse 23, God your God will deliver them to you. He will drive them crazy until you are destroyed. He will deliver their kings into your hand. Nobody will stand up against you until you have destroyed them. Chapter 8, verse 1, you should safeguard, again, Moses, over and over and over and over and over again. Keep the mitzvos. Guys, I'm 26 years old. I've been learning Torah since I was like 3. I learn every single day of my life. I still, I know technically why the mitzvos, the commandments are so important to us. It is the most mysterious thing to me still. That like me covering my hair, this is a mitzvah, right? This is a commandment from God that Jewish married women cover their hair. That it literally is your life. I don't understand that fully. Like, I don't know if I'll ever understand these things like blessing God after we eat or keeping Shabbos, keeping kosher. It's not even important. It's our life. It's our essence. It's our life flow. It's our core. And Moses, remember, this whole book happens in 37 days. The fifth and final book of the Torah, Devarim, happens in 37 days. That's a month and 7 days. Moses is about to die. He's been taking care of his people for 40 years. And he basically has one message. Don't forget who you are and keep the mitzvos. Don't forget who you are and keep the mitzvos. Safeguard the mitzvos. Safeguard the mitzvos. Safeguard the mitzvos. Moshe has just a broken record for 37 days. Let's keep going. You should safeguard the observance of all the commandments that I'm commanding you today, so that you will live, multiply, and come to possess the land that God swore to your forefathers. Okay, there's so much and we don't have so much time. Be careful. Again, God has told you, Moshe repeats himself. Be careful not to forget God your God, failing to keep his commandments, rational commands, and super rational commands, which I'm commanding you today. Do not forget, guys. Moshe said it to the Jewish people. Don't forget about God. Don't forget about God when things are good. Don't forget about God when things are bad. Don't forget about God no matter where you are in the world. Remember what it is to be a Jew. What will happen is if you forget God, your God, and if you forget your God and follow other gods and worship them and prostrate yourself before them, I testify to you today that you will be destroyed again and again. You will be destroyed just like the nations that God destroyed before you, since you did not listen to the calling of the Lord your God. Like I told you this, guys, last week, that I don't really think about reward and punishment. Like if you don't do the commandments, God will punish you. I think about it as consequence. I don't think about it as punishment, because then you become afraid of God. And how do you love a God that you're terrified of? But that's another topic for another time. I think about it as it's consequence. If you're not connected to who you are as a Jew, you're essentially connected to the Torah, the mitzvos, and Hashem, and the land of Israel. If you forget who you are, life will become chaotic. Life will become filled with anxiety. It's like kind of like modern psychology a little bit. If you're estranged from yourself, your life becomes dark. It becomes hard. That's how I like to think about it. Again, hear, O Israel, today you're about to cross the Jordan to come and take control of nations that are greater than you and stronger than you. You might say, who can stand against the children of a giant? You should know today that God, your God, is passing before you. He is a consuming fire. He will destroy them. He will subjugate them before you. Don't fear. Hashem is with us. It's very apt for today. Well, so many people hate us, and we're just going to keep being ourselves and keep being strong, because God is on our side, as always. Okay, we're going to end off with this because it's already 10 minutes. This is one of the most beautiful verses in the entire Torah, in my opinion. I'm going to say it in Hebrew first. Va'ata, and now. Va'ata Yisrael, and now, O Israel. Ma Hashem Elokecha sho'el mi'imach. What does the Lord your God ask from you? Ki im liyira es Hashem Elokecha. But what does God ask from you besides just to fear the Lord your God? Fear Hashem. V'lechas bechol darachav, and to walk in all of his ways. Follow him. Ula'ava also, and to love God. Do you love God? Do you feel emotionally connected to God? Love is an emotion. And to serve the Lord your God with all of your heart and all of your soul. I can't. It's so beautiful. Okay, there's so much more we can do, but Hashem goes on to say that we should love the convert, because you should love the convert because you were aliens in the land of Egypt. Hashem commands us to love the convert and to show favor and to love the orphan and the widow. I always thought about that. It was so beautiful. Like, God could do anything he wants, but he like specifically thinks about the orphan, the widow, the convert, like the people that might have it hard, that do have it harder in life because they're other, they're different, they're missing something, and they've been through suffering, and God specifically asks us to take care of them. So beautiful. Have a beautiful Shabbos, everyone. Learn as much Torah as you can in this life. There's nothing like it. It's literally, truly our life. I love you guys. Mwah.